be the intelligent opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, especially in the world of social media. And yes, that's kind of the aspect of free speech, except for the fact that if you don't have a well-researched, intelligent opinion, people are not going to pay attention to you. So be that person that people want to listen to because you've researched the topic and you know the topic before you open your mouth and put your foot in it. It's always a good idea. So be that intelligent opinion. When it comes down to messaging, it's a big deal in the aspect of draft your message. And really, the way to do it is time. First of all, articulate your ideas. You can explain what you need to say. Write it out. Sit there, scribble it down, and get it on paper. It's one thing to have the thoughts up in your head, and then you find once you start writing them out, they start gelling into the aspect of, and you'll add a few more things to it and make it even deeper and clearer. Use the draft method to write efficiently and make certain clearly that you're critical of everything that you can possibly have in there. There's a 3x3 writing process. Use that in the process. Pre-write. In other words, take a piece of paper and scribble it on. When I write a major paper, even like a screenplay or anything else like that, I have permission to actually use my glass doors I have for my closet. I take 3x5 cards or 4x6 cards, I scribble the ideas and I line them all up, and I'll have sometimes 7 or 8 rows coming down and I'll have cards and I'll switch them around and everything else. That's my process for major paper rewrites. I want to make certain I have the topics in proper order, so I do a lot of pre-writing. You don't need to go to that extent, except for the fact that go to some extent in the aspect of the pre-writing, and then once you have your ideas fleshed out, add things to them, and then draft. By draft, you're going to go out and gather more data. We'll talk about primary and secondary research, but arrange it so that your big idea is first. You want to have that up there because your job is to put those hooks inside your communication. A hook is a matter of something to grab the readers into, and you're holding on to them, and all of a sudden they're like a fish on the end of a hook. It doesn't sound very good, but that's the idea. So you want to sit down and have that because you want them to hold on to your ideas because you are taking the time out with your intelligent opinion that you've researched, and they want to listen to the next thing that you have to say. And by the time you're done, you need to revise. Strive for parallelism, clarity, conciseness, readability. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. You want to proofread. Few things turn off somebody than the aspect of something that you do on the very first sentence or first page. It really, you mess up and you have some type of typographical error. And the problem that we have is we have these evil things called cell phones. And the cell phones decide they're autocorrect our stuff. And I don't know about you, about every 10th message, I have to make certain I'm double checking everything, because my spell check correction on my cell phone will sit down there and say something totally wrong that I didn't want to say. And all of a sudden, if I ever send it, then I'm embarrassed. I hope you are too as well. Always proofread the process. A lot of your writing begins with background information. You want to make certain that you're going to begin a message and gather the information first before you say something. Otherwise, you will have no credibility. Research simply means collecting information about the topic. And once you start doing that and start fleshing out your topic, in other words, building your message framework on top of a skeleton, so to speak, making it thicker, making it more substantive in the process so somebody else will know what you're talking about, it's a big thing. Thoughtful writers collect information, and what does the receiver, in other words, the person that's on this end over here, what do you expect of this person to know? Because you want to convey it to that person over there. So what do they need to know? What is the receiver supposed to do with the information? I had a boss, and he sat there and says, David, I don't know what these people copy me for. I says, because you're the vice chancellor and you have power. He says, yeah, I know, except for the fact that, do they want me to step in and wait it? They carbon copy me on everything. Then tell them to stop doing it, okay? Or say, what am I supposed to do with this? He started doing that, and it's really surprising as to the responses. A lot of his emails stopped because he wanted to know, what am I supposed to do with this? And how is the receiver supposed to do? Okay, you copied me because you want to burn this person over here, you don't like them, or you want to make certain that your backside is covered, you don't get burned in the process. And then when do you have to do it? What do you want the receiver to do, and what will happen if I don't? These are all relevant questions because the reader all of a sudden has this incoming salvo of a message. What do I do with this? And how do I go about doing it? And how soon? And what'll happen if I don't do it? All those things are relevant, maybe not to you, but to this person over here, the receiver of the message. So pay attention to that. Do some research on it. There's a lot of easy ways of doing it. This is called really the informal research. When you draft an email, letter, report, search the company files, do a really smart thing, talk to the boss. It's good politicking inside the organization. Politics isn't always bad and isn't always about the different state houses or that place we call the federal place, the Washington, D.C. Politics is just interaction between people, and have a good relationship with your boss. Talk with the boss, brainstorm, interview the target audience for what you want to have. Create some type of informal survey if you need to, and get 3 or 4 people that you can quote in your paper. I talked to so-and-so, and they said so, and they said this. Those are all good things to have in your paper. And then there's formal research where you actually fabricate questions about your topic, and you go around and you ask people for their firsthand experience. So the informal research, where you're checking the files, you're interviewing the target audience, you're creating this informal survey. Now we're going to go formal and get primary data. This comes from firsthand experience. I did this, and this is the result of it. Therefore, based upon this, I think we should change this. A lot of that really helps an awful lot if you have a body of information that you've gone through in the process. The secondary comes from books, magazines, journals, and things you can find online. These are all secondary sources. You have informal sources, you have your primary research, where you're actually going out and doing formal research, asking questions about your topic, and then you have a body of stuff that's easy to access on the internet, and you want to go grab those different aspects of the secondary sources and include them. The Wall Street Journal on February 17th, 2019, Gerald F. Seib said the following, and you embed a quote right in there. Well, that's secondary research that pertains to your topic. Your primary research was you would bring people in and have a focus group. You got 7 people, and you talk to them for 7 hours over pizza and soda, and boom, here's the information that we have. That's primary research. Primary is about talking to people directly. Secondary is using other sources that relate to your topic, and you want to bring those in as well. Traditionally, a lot of times you can generate ideas by brainstorming. And in essence, brainstorming, you can do it electronically or face-to-face. You sit around, you talk about ideas. Facilitator records them, sometimes on a whiteboard, sometimes on newsprint paper, sometimes over here, sometimes on an iPad, whatever. They record things, and the emphasis on quantity of ideas, lots of ideas. The rule when you brainstorm is don't kill things in the process, because we're not looking at quality and that costs too much. That dialogue does not happen in brainstorming. It happens after brainstorming. Then you start weeding things out. But in brainstorming, you just toss a bunch of ideas up on the board, you talk about them, and a lot of times when you do that in a group, you'll generate additional ideas. And frankly, I think it's a really good creative tool for a group to sit down, because you want to have the group on board with major decisions, because by the time you're all done, a good leader will use that group to help implement the decision, and all of a sudden now they participated. Judgment is discouraged until you're all done, and wait until after. Mind mapping. It's another methodology of brainstorming, except you're mapping things out and you're generating ideas. The creativity element of a group is one of the most powerful aspects about leadership, because if a group comes up with an idea, a group flushes out an idea that you might have had, all of a sudden, once that group meets, they talk about it, and everybody is on board. You have a whole series of little missionaries with your idea or their idea now to go out and push it and make it happen. It's a brilliant idea. Be that intelligent opinion. Do your primary research. Go out and do research specifically on your topic. Go out and search the internet. Look in different sources. Know your stuff before you speak. Use brainstorming and mind mapping. All those will help you when you come up with your idea to be that intelligent opinion. Take care.